Sunday on Denver 7 News.
I think that's like the one blessing that has come from this is we were all in it together and it didn't feel like a personal attack.
Neighbors searching for answers after an act of vandalism, while confusing, seems anything but random. And the government is putting Americans in Ukraine on high alert, as a potentially hostile move from Russia could be on the horizon. And take a look at this. Back here at home, folks got a little wild in Steamboat this weekend. The story behind this tradition on the way.
Morning and happy Super Bowl Sunday to you. I'm Micah Smith and welcome to Denver 7 News.
And I'm Katie LaSalle. Really appreciate you being here, and we have some gorgeous weather across the state for this Super Bowl Sunday. Whatever it is you like to do outside today, it's going to be sunshine statewide. You can see a beautiful look over at the foothills up into the mountains. Still a layer of snow across downtown Denver, and we will see more melting occur later on this afternoon. It's cold out there this morning, 29 degrees currently, and it feels like we're only in the upper teens with winds sustained from the southwest at 15 miles per hour out to the airport. Temperatures into the high country this morning, out of the single digits now in Aspen at 10 degrees, but only in the teens over Pueblo and Lyman up through Sterling. Bundle up early on. The winds will be strong later on this afternoon, especially over the northeastern plains and up near the border near Greeley. Wind gusts can reach about 25 miles per hour. But your hourly planner here over the Denver area, no advisories in place for today. Pretty quiet weather pattern with daytime highs reaching the low to mid 50s this afternoon. You can see those winds starting to pick up. Clouds increase slightly. We'll stay dry today and tomorrow, and then we have the chance for snow returning this week. More on that coming up in just a bit.
"30 people are still looking for answers this morning after they woke up to their tires slashed this weekend. Denver 7's Christian Lopez joins us live now. And Christian, these neighbors say they feel the police department isn't doing enough.
Yeah, that's right. They're very upset about this and they want something done about it. This all happened in the San Francisco West neighborhood in Lakewood Saturday morning, and dozens of people had to get their cars towed. They had to buy replacement tires. They had to spend a lot of money on this, and they say that they're very frustrated because there's little security and no cameras to capture the activity in this area. They also say law enforcement didn't send anyone to investigate because of the weather yesterday.
And it just feels that there's not enough patrolling that's happening, or like there's just not enough engagement out here to take these vandalism crimes seriously, because if they're affecting us constantly, it seems like patrolling would be the minimum they could do.
You just heard from a resident who is very upset about this. People who live in that area are now taking matters into their own hands and trying to collect as much information as they can, but they need your help. So if you have any information or video from this area, call the Lakewood Police Department. I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Christian, thank you. What a headache for those neighbors. And looking a little deeper now, under Colorado law, this kind of vandalism can have serious consequences depending on the amount of damage. Anything more than $300 but less than $750, that is a Class 2 misdemeanor. Between $750 and $1,000, a Class 1 misdemeanor, and $1,000 or more in damage is considered a felony. The Denver Police website says the best way to report vandalism is to file a report online so they can track it and save a copy for your insurance company.
Lucky to be alive. That's what police and first responders told one Denver girl after a drunk driver hit her car near Colorado Springs in October. Now the community is helping raise money for her hospital expenses. Brother Down, a nonprofit, stepped in to help Madison Crandall and her family. 4 months later, Crandall is still recovering physically and emotionally.
It was really painful, and you don't really realize how much you use your body until you can't use a part of it. And so just figuring out how to move around and not hurt myself was a whole new thing. It's pretty surreal when you have hospital employees and police officers coming and saying that you shouldn't be alive.
There were 8 people in Crandall's car, and all of them were able to walk away from the crash with non-life-threatening injuries. The drunk driver also survived the accident.
Now to the continued rising tensions on the Ukraine-Russian border.
All private American citizens in Ukraine are now being urged to leave the country immediately as U.S. military leaders feel the threat from Russia's military is increasing.
Here's ABC's Terry Moran in Kiev.
This morning, the U.S. warning Russia may stage a false flag attack inside Ukraine as a pretext to invade its neighbor as early as next week. amid Moscow's massive military buildup along its borders. It comes following high-stakes talks between President Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin.
The two leaders spoke directly for an hour by phone, Biden telling Putin that a Russian invasion would cause widespread suffering, while the Kremlin accused the U.S. of whipping up hysteria. A senior administration official telling ABC News the call was substantive, but there was no fundamental change in the dynamic. The U.S. warning Russia can attack at any moment.
We are in the window when an invasion could begin at any time, should Vladimir Putin decide to order it.
Secretary of State Blinken also engaging in a last-ditch attempt at diplomacy, speaking with his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov.
I raised our serious concerns. I also underscored that if Moscow chooses the path of aggression and further invades Ukraine, the response from the United States and our allies will be swift, it will be united, it will be severe.
Some 130,000 Russian troops now line Ukraine's border as Russia continues military exercises, warships in the Black Sea firing naval drills. The U.S. now ordering all non-essential embassy personnel in Kyiv to immediately evacuate, and a growing list of other countries pulling their embassy staff out of Ukraine too.
The risk of Russian military action is high enough, and the threat is imminent enough, that this is the prudent thing to do.
Ukrainian President Zelensky saying all the invasion warnings are creating a frenzy.
And the truth that we have different information. And now the best friend for enemies, that is panic in our country. And all this information that helps only for panic doesn't help us.
Do you think it will be war? I'm ready. I don't know, but I'm ready.
Back here at home now, Community Foundation Boulder County is now getting more than $500,000 to help support victims of the Marshall Fire. The money is going to Impact on Education and Boulder Jewish Family Services to provide mental health services to those who need it. There will be counselors with special training for times of crisis and coping with trauma. And if you'd like more information, you can head to Boulder County's website.
For the thousands of people who lost everything in the Marshall Fire, their needs aren't going away after 6 weeks. And in Colorado, the help isn't going away either. What happened yesterday at the Black Lab Sports Warehouse is yet another example of community members stepping in to help. They teamed up with more than 40 major name brands to give fire victims brand new items for free. This is cool. They're calling it the Phoenix Project. Their goal to help people rise from the ashes. Santiago Sainz was at the event. He and his family were visiting relatives in Argentina when the fire hit, and they lost everything.
A lot of coats, sports stuff, like my dad's getting some bike things that we lost a lot of in the fire. Yeah, a lot of warm clothes.
It was a project that came about from a coalition of local companies, got together and on the day of the fire decided what can we do to help. So immediately they kind of just sprang to action and started reaching out to their networks and their contacts and worked on getting donations of brand new clothing, apparel, gear, things that these folks might have lost.
About 1,000 people signed up for Saturday's event. Organizers say everyone involved in putting it together either knows someone the fire impacted or were affected themselves and still wanted to give back. Veterans are still struggling with loneliness, especially during the pandemic. But there's one group working to change that, how you can support the Compassion Corps after the break.